On behalf of IES University, I, Harpreet Singh, wish you all a very warm welcome. First of all, Happy Teachers' Day. We are thankful to Engineer B.S. Yadav Sir, Honorable Chancellor, IES University, Dr. Sunita Singh Ma'am, Pro-Chancellor, Shri Devan Singh Sir, CEO, Dr. Naveen Chandra, Vice Chancellor, and Jyotiram Savle Sir, Registrar, and all the teachers of IES University for their generous presence in the Teachers' Day celebration. The birth date of the second President of India, Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, 5th September 1888, has been celebrated as Teachers' Day since 1962. To celebrate this occasion, today students from different departments of IES University will give you presentations, perform song recitals acknowledging the contribution of our beloved teachers. I am sure this online program will be enjoyable and fruitful for all our beloved teachers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Varpi. Om Saraswati Mahabhage Vidya Kamal Lochane Vishwarupe Vitalakshi Vidyam Dehi Namostute. Now I would like to call Akshay Maheshwari and Pratibha Shukla from BSc B.Ed for Saraswati Vandana.
ईश्वर की देवी माँ वाणी में मधुरता दो मैं गीत सुनाती हूँ संगीत की शिक्षा दो
सरगम का ज्ञान नहीं नालय का ठिकाना है तुम्हें आज सभा में माँ हमें दर्श दिखाना है
संगीत समंदर से सुर ताल हमें दे दो हे स्वर की देवी माँ वाणी में मधुरता दो
शक्ति ना भक्ति है सेवा का ज्ञान नहीं तुम्हें आज सुनाने को कोई सुंदर गान नहीं
गीतों के खजानों से एक गीत मुझे दे दो हे स्वर की देवी माँ वाणी में मधुरता दो
हे स्वर की देवी माँ वाणी में मधुरता दो मैं गीत सुनाता हूँ संगीत की शिक्षा दो Thank you so much everyone. Happy Teachers Day all of you.
Thank you, Akshay and Pratibha, for the wonderful recital. Do you know our education policy is changed? It will have a far-reaching effect on every aspect of the life in our country. So let's call Lalini Rajput from CS to tell us more about education policy and its effect on teachers and students.
Thank you, Teja. A very good afternoon, everyone. Wish you all a very, very happy Teachers' Day. I hope you all are staying safe in your own houses. So today, we are going to study about the education system of India, that is NEP 2020. I am Lalini Singh Rajput from BTech CSE branch 7th semester. So the contents of today's topic are Introduction, History of Education System in India, Changes we all were wanting, Key features of New Education Policy 2020, and at last we'll see the conclusion. So for introduction, let me start with a question. If I ask you what you need the most to live a happy and successful life, what will your answers will be? Maybe some of you will say money, some of you will say family, some will say love, some will say power. But most probably of you will agree with me that education is the most important thing in today's scenario, because we are living in the era where education is added as the building block with roti, kapda, makan, we can say. Once Nelson Mandela has said that education is the most powerful weapon of India, basically most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. As we all have listened the phrase that पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो बनोगे नवाब. I'll not say the second line because I do not agree with that खेलोगे कूदोगे तो होगे खराब. It is not true basically. But yeah, पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो बनोगे नवाब. This is true, we can say. So moving further, if we want to learn anything, we have to dig into its history. That is, we have to know about the past features also. So in history, in ancient times, our India has the Gurukul system of education, which we have two ends. Number one is Guru and number second is Shishya. At that time, we don't have schools basically from now, like now. We don't have universities. We have only Gurukul system. So there is one and Guru and Shishya. Here, the Shishya who have to learn, they go to Guru's place and they ask them and they request them that so that they could teach them. And here, the Guru had to teach them. If he agrees, he will teach the students what he has gained the knowledge during his along his lifetime. The education here is not limited to four walls of the classroom. Here the education is nature friendly. The students has to stay there at Guru's place like boarding schools type. And the Guru taught everything which he has got during his lifetime to the children. And this also, and the students have to help the Guru in the household chores so that they became the warrior for the lifetime. Next is we have the modern education system. When the Britishers were ruling over the India, by Lord Thomas Babington, modern education system was came into picture in 1830s basically. With this, new subjects like physics, science are added, and the and new language English was also came into picture. Here, after this modern education system, the study of Vedas and the metaphysics, the philosophy subjects, which were in our own in our own culture, were treated as unnecessary. The teacher wasn't nature friendly like previous. It is limited to the four walls of the classroom, and the link between teacher, children, and nature is broken. And so, the lessons which we used to got previously from the nature, the life lessons, are now not possible to take those lessons. Moving further, uh, as we all know, we all were wanting some changes to be in the education policy. So if we want to change anything, firstly we need to understand what are the drawbacks, why we need to change the education system. So here are some drawbacks of education system. Only theoretical knowledge, no practical knowledge were given to students. Only bookish language, and only bookish language was taught in the schools, and the students have basically no idea where to apply that knowledge. So this was one of the drawback of the previous education system. The next point is no overall development of an individual. Like our students are very good in academics, they know all the formulas, all the theories, but they are not growing as an individual. The we can say the personality growth is somewhere lacking behind. Next is the memorization of knowledge. Here, memorization of knowledge is very much. We can say the students, if he want to learn anything, he has to mug up things because he don't know the practical thing. He don't know that where this formula is derived from. When I was a kid, my teacher taught me that if you want to learn the formula of a plus b ka whole square, firstly you have to understand that why are we doing this, where we going to apply this, and you should know that a plus b ka whole square is equals to agar kuch aa raha hai, like if you are getting some output, how we are going to get it. So a plus b into a plus b, so that if we know the base of any concept, we don't have to memorize it, and we can, with using that, we can move on further in our life. So if we know a plus b ka whole square, how to derive that formula, we can find out anything a plus b to the power n till our life. Next point is examinations only focuses on the end results. There is, as I said, no personality development, no personality growth was taking place, and the examinations which were taking place only focuses on the end results. Like the students, what the students is doing in our whole academic year doesn't matter, but if he will perform like he will perform good in academics, that's all. The knowledge which is he has gained during the academic year doesn't matter that much if he was not able to perform in the examination. Next point is too much pressure or stress. Not only institutions, not only teachers, but nowadays parents are also pressurizing their children too much. Like you have to take this or that stream, you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer. They don't ask what do you want to be in your life? What is your goal? What are your area of interest? No. But they just need to be their children doctors or engineers. Next point is, so we all were wanting to change education policy and we all were waiting basically. So here comes the new education policy 2020. In this, the National Education Policy 2020 was approved by Union Cabinet on 29th July 2020 by Union HRD Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal, Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar, and and secondary higher education Amit Khare, and secondary school education Anita Karwal. It has changed many things. It is basically a comprehensive framework from nursery to doctoral level, that is from elementary class to till the students have completed their education. Here, the policy aims to transform India's education system by 2040. That is, this policy will be implemented totally over the India and change the education system by 2040. The government is planning to implement it by 2040. It has made changes in both the ends basically. It is not only for the students or for the teachers or for the institution. It has made changes from students' point of view, from teachers' point of view, as well as from institutions' point of view, by keeping the thought in place that everybody will grow together and we can grow as an individual as well. And we can develop the country as well. So here are some key features of NEP 2020. The first key feature is schooling starts at the age of 3 years from now. Yes, previously we have seen in rural areas that schooling has started from 6 years, or whenever the students will want to go to school or the parents feel that their students are capable of going to school, they will get admitted in school. But now government has said that the schooling should start from 3 years, as the students are capable of, like, they start playing and they can learn while playing. So the schooling should start from 3 years, and nursery is mandatory basically now. Previously nursery is not mandatory class. Even I have seen in rural areas the students got admitted directly to first standard. They don't know nursery, they don't know LKG, UKG. So now nursery is also going to be major part of education. Next point is current education, that is 10 plus 2 education system is replaced by new 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 circular structure. Previously 10 plus 2, that is first to 10, was the first group of education, and the second group was 11th and 12th. So we have seen that first to 10 students were treated similarly and 11 12 first students were treated similarly. But from now government has said that there is a different age group and we need to understand from their perspective, and the students have the different mentalities during this age group. So it has changed from nursery to second standard. Next is from third standard to fifth standard. Next 3 years are from sixth standard to eighth standard. That is government has, that is, this is the major part of the student's life, that this is the point where they have to know what's going to be their, like, what is going to be their occupation, what is going to be their future. So they have emphasized more on these 3 years, and also very most crucial years are from 9th to 12th standard. Next point is multilingualism, which our government says we should be more emphasis on mother tongue or regional language. We have seen that like where the point where English language has came into picture, our students are very good in English language. They learn everything from childhood. We are learning English language and we are good enough in English language. But somewhere we are lacking in our own mother tongue, in our own regional language. and we should not be very proud of that thing basically. The government has said we should not leave our culture back. Yes, you learn English language, but with that you should be aware of your own culture, of our own mother tongue. So till fifth standard, the education will be totally in mother tongue or regional language. Next point is the assessment will be based on 360-degree holistic progress card. As previously, we have seen that examinations are only point in which the progress card of any student is made. Like you score an exam and you will get your progress card based on that. But from now, it is not so. You have to actively participate in extracurricular activities. You have to part in sports. You have to be friendly with your classmates. Your nature should be fine. You should be respecting your seniors, your juniors, and everything. So this all will include in our progress card also. And this will lead to the holistic development of an individual. Next is, this point is based on teachers' education, the changes which are made from teachers' point of view. So the government has said that by 2030, 4-year integrated B.Ed program is going to be must for each and every teacher so that they can be like our teachers are very good enough. They handle our students very well, no doubt in that. But also that 4-year integrated program is going to be must so that they can get more practice, they can get more trained how to handle teachers, oh, I'm sorry, how to handle students and like how to take care of them basically. Next point is no rigid separation between arts and science group. From like we have seen now, if you are from science group, you cannot study the subjects of arts group, whether if you are interested or not. You cannot study them. If I am from science group and I have a great interest in economics, but I cannot go to that subject. If I want to study, you have to take another classes for that. You cannot study that during your school time. But government has said if the student is interested, he or she can learn any subject of his interest. Next is the use and integration of technology. The government has emphasized most on this topic. The Indian government is basically know that the upcoming world is going to be the world of automation. So it has emphasized more on technology, use of technology. Like we have seen due to COVID, everything came into online picture. Like the classes which we are using are online. So government has the websites like Swayam, NPTEL, the online lecture, the distance learning program will be more emphasized and the students should be more participative on those platforms as well. Also for the use of technology, government has introduced coding. Yes, coding, which we are doing at the age of like 18, 19, 20. The students will be doing that from 6th standard onwards. So we can see that how our generation is going to be changed, how they are like their thinking, their perspective, everything will be changed. We are doing it from this age. Like we have from now we have learned that students will learn coding in college, but from now onwards they will learn coding at the from their 6th standard. So till now they can make their app on also from 12. We will see in future that our 12th standard student is making an application and he's a software engineer basically. Next are some bagless days. As we have seen the stress, we have seen that the students' weight is less and the bag's weight is more. They have to carry so many books, so many copies, whether they are useful, no useful, GK, everything, this book, that book. So the government has said there are going to be some bagless days. The teaching will be on laptops, iPads. Uh, Next point is critical thinking and creativity. As the students previously are getting the only bookish knowledge, somewhere they are lacking in creativity. Their own creativity gets suppressed by the overburdening of the syllabus and everything. The government has said that the students should grow themselves, like open up their mind and think beyond the out of the box. Out of the box thinking should be needed in India now also. So the next point is mental and physical health being. uh, like we have seen so many students due to the exam pressure or anything from 10th when we get results of 10th standard or 12th standard, many students due to exam pressure on the pressure of family, they take the step of suicide. That the government has said no student, like no student should be like pressurized so much. And for this thing, we have counselors. Yes, the government has appointed that every student, every institution should appoint a counselor, and from age like they will be in school campus, and if the student will need anything, they will consult to counselor and they will help them. Also, next point is parak. Like we have seen, there are many examinations, assessment, uh, different for different streams. From now onwards, there will be a single assessment, that is parak, which will assess the students on their academics. So that's all. Also, the GER, that is gross enrollment ratio, which means the number of intakes in the institution, which we have is 26.4% now. The government has said to increase it by 2040 by 50%. Also, the GDP, which is 4.6 percentage now in the education sector, is going to increase by 6% by 2030. Here we have the conclusion slide, which tells us that how the government is planning to implement the NEP 2020, and what is the structure the government is used to follow. Like we have seen, national curriculum for teacher framework, that is 21-22 में apply होगा. Next is 2030 तक B.Ed program is going to be must. 25-26 state UT government optimize resource through the mechanism or group. So yeah, this is the policy, and the government is planning to implement that in this way. That's all. Any queries? Okay. Thank you so much, and wish you all a very happy Teachers' Day once again.
Thank you, Nalini. That was very insightful. When you wake up in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. I think the first thing a person does in morning is he prays for God, for his mercy and grace. With this thought, let's call Shweta Singh from C.
Hello.
Shweta, you can start. There's some technical error. You can start.
A very good morning and a very happy Teachers' Day. My name is Shweta Singh, and ever since I knew I wanted to be a teacher, I had this dialogue in my mind I wanted to say. I want pin drop silence in my class. So let's start with the PPT. My today's topic is spirituality. My topic is psychological, and all these months I have read books like The Alchemist, The Secret, The Power of Subconscious Mind. So here I am with my little knowledge. What is spirituality? Spirituality is a science of soul. When you know your own self, that is it. That is the happiness, and that is the key of life. Swami Vivekananda says, even the lowest of low has Atman, soul. It never dies, it never is born, it is immortal, without beginning and the end, and it is the pure. Thoughts. Your thoughts are your future. Now, how do I say that? Now you might be thinking, मैं सोचता कुछ और हूँ और हो कुछ और जाता है. Why does this happen? Let's take an example. Like Rashmi ma'am had planned this event so well. She's like, this event will go very well. But then she had thoughts like something wrong will go. Somebody's mic will go wrong, or something bad will happen, or battery will get low. So she confused her thoughts. She gave a negative vibe also, and a positive vibe also. So what will happen? It will only happen a haywire thing. Okay. So instead, if Rashmi ma'am had thought, like things will go well, everybody will speak well, the mics will be okay, the internet will be okay, and everything will go well, it will smoothly go. This is the power of thought. So how do you know what to think and how? Decide what you want. Okay, always decide what you want and believe it will happen, because you deserve it and it is possible. Okay, and at the end of the day, every night, rewind your day. And when you rewind your day and think like this was something wrong and this shouldn't have happened, you rewind that day the way you wanted it to go. Plan it and sleep with those thoughts. Next is self-management. Now, managing yourself is known as self-management. Before managing, you need to know yourself. Our brain has two parts, okay? The conscious part and the subconscious part. Your conscious part knows everything. It is looking what is happening. It can question, it can observe things, and it will give a observation to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind cannot question. Whatever you give it, it will keep it. And it is the powerhouse. It is the magical place. Whatever you give it to your subconscious mind, that will happen. Now, if you tell your subconscious mind that this was something learnable, this was something positive, positivity will happen in your life. This is the power of subconscious mind. So now you should have a clarity. You should have clarity in your thoughts. What do you want actually? Because with clarity, there comes power. And when you have power, you have confidence in yourself. Okay. Next is awareness and mind. This is a very important topic. So for this, I want you to do an experiment with me. Okay. Are you there with me? All the teachers and all the students? Okay. Whatever I'll say, you have to do it. Everyone. Okay. I want you to close your eyes. There is no harm in it. Close your eyes, please. And now I want you to realize where you are sitting. Is your spine straight? How's the temperature here? Are you okay? Now go to the last wedding. Remember the last wedding you attended. How was the wedding? Was the bride looking nice? Was she okay? Did she make a good choice with the lehenga? So how was the food there? Was it good? Did you like it? Did you like the ornaments there? Okay. Now I want you to realize the last trip you went to. The last trip you went with your family or friends. How was the trip? Was it picnic? Was the picnic good? How was the ambience? Was it green? How was the temperature? Did you had food? Did your stomach got upset? Okay. Now I want you to realize where you are sitting right now and understand the temperature here and open your eyes. So this, what I did with you was awareness thing. Your mind is full of happiness, sad, love, anger, depression, peace, everything is there. What I took you from a wedding to a picnic trip. And then I made you realize that you're sitting here. This was awareness. Awareness brings concentration. Now I'm sure that you know what to control, your mind or your awareness. Put your awareness on a positive thing. Know you are happy. Happiness will happen. Know your mind. Now if I'll take you to the death of the last person that you attended, you will get sad. So take your awareness to the positive point, be happy about it and stay happy. Your everything will be happy. Okay, so control your awareness, not mind. Next is your energy. With the term energy, I do not say that take Red Bull. Okay, energy is like water. Now you give water to weeds and plants. What does it grow? Weeds and plants, obviously. Energy is the same. It does not differentiate. You give your energy to positive thoughts, you give your energy to negative thoughts, that will penetrate. And wherever you give your energy, that will grow, that will manifest. Okay? Find how your energy works. Ask what you want, put your energy into it, it manifests. It definitely manifests. Where your energy focuses it manifests. So now your homework is to control your energy. Okay? Understand energy like money. When you have money, even if you have 500 rupees and somebody is asking for 100 rupees, you will think 100 times, why should I give this person 100 rupees? I could instead give this 100 rupees to my friend or my children or my wife or husband. So give your energy like that. You have finite energy. You should decide where to give it. Okay. Just like life is finite. You should know where to focus your energy, where to keep yourself happy, and that will happen. So now I have these two aspects, pray and visualize. Every night before you go to sleep, pray what you want. Be affirmative. Don't question that this will not happen or that will not happen. That is not your work. Your work is to pray. Okay? Pray something good will happen. You want this. And then visualize it. Visualize it when you receive it. How will that moment be? Will you be happy? Of course. Every night do this, pray and visualize. Next is concentration. As students and as teachers, we have always been taught to concentrate. But have we ever taught how to concentrate? Was there a subject ever in our life to concentrate? but we have always said concentrate. So how to concentrate? First is practice. Practice one thing at a time. Like I took your attention, took your awareness from one place to there. That was concentration. Place your concentration there and practice one thing at a time. And every day, if you're talking to one person, give the undivided attention to that person. Okay. Focus one thing at a time. And then concentration requires willpower. How does willpower practices? It comes into practice. Do everything. Like finish what you started. Whenever you go to sleep, every night you go to your bed, you sleep, you wake up, make your bed every night and every morning when you wake up. That means you're finishing a process of sleep. Okay. And do a little more. How? If you are preparing your food, you are eating it, you are having a time to clean your dishes. Okay. This is known as doing a little more every day. This encourages your willpower. And every time you get distracted, bring back your ball of awareness. Okay, and concentrate. Practice it. This is concentration. Next, a very important topic, happiness. Happiness is a positive state of mind. Okay, so always learn to appreciate, okay, the goodness in your life and appreciate the goodness in others. Always focus on the goodness. Be grateful. Always be grateful for what you have. Even a small plate of food that you have in front of you, be grateful to that. Like there are 15 to 20 people who have managed to work to bring that plate of food in front of you, starting from that farmer. Okay, be humble and be respectful. You are taking a lot from life. As a child, you have taken a lot from life, all these observations. You have to give it back also. So what you give, you receive. Logic of basic sentiment I want to tell you here, like with an example. You go to your home today from your hostel and you visit your mother will give you 100% of love. Did she get depleted of love? Of course not. Next day, your sister comes. She gives 100% of her love. Then your father, she gives 100% of her love, and then the guest. Did she get depleted? Like her love is ending, 2 minus 2, does it become 0? Of course not. When you share love, it grows. You know, when love ends, it ends when you keep it to yourself and don't share it. Okay? So acknowledge what other has done for you always. Joy comes when you give joy to another person. Understand that external objects are not responsible for your happiness. Happiness is your own being. Okay. So next is your emotions. Emotions are very powerful. Add emotions to your prayers that will manifest. Okay. So if you have anger emotions, if you have something that is disturbing you, write it on a piece of paper and burn it. Now you will be like, it does not happen in practical life, but understand, I'll show it to you with an example. Your family member, your wife or your husband or your children had made a birthday card for you. Okay, your birthday card your children had made, it is not that impressive. You cannot sell it into the market, right? But you keep it. You're not throwing it, you're keeping it. Why are you keeping it? Because you know that your children and your wife or your husband has made it with your love. Okay, you knew the emotions behind that card. So you transferred your emotions of love to a piece of paper, right? This is what I'm saying. If you have anger emotions, write it on a piece of paper and burn it. How many times? It's your turn. Okay, so the last slide I want to tell you about this is don't pursue happiness. The whole thing I want to tell you is don't pursue happiness, pursue a lifestyle that brings about happiness. Okay, in order to know your lifestyle, give yourself time. Understand that you have to give your time and ask yourself, how are you feeling today? Okay, feel good, feel healthy, feel cherished, and understand where you want to give your energy into. Give your energy, give your undivided attention, take your awareness there and put your energy there and be affirmative. Know that it will happen. Okay, so in this way you can have happiness because you know how to control your awareness now. You got the power key. So life is finite. Take power of yourself, mind your body and take it in your control. Understand, be aware, use your energy wisely and believe what you want, it happens. And at last, I'm very thankful to all the teachers who have patiently listened to me and teachers. Thank you and have a happy Teachers Day.
Thank you, Shweta. That was very exalting. Nowadays, ethical hacking is in boom. I want to know more about it. And I guess everyone else too. Do you all want to know? Yes. Then let's call Atul Anand and Roshan Chaurasia from CSE to tell us more about Introduction to the World of Programming and Ethical Hacking.
Hello, thank you, Tejal, and a very happy Teachers' Day to all. And thank you all the teachers for giving us all the life experiences so that we are here, we are living our life happily. Thank you, and I would like to thank you again and happy Teachers' Day to all. And now we are having this session on Introduction to the Programming World and Ethical Hacking by me, the Roshan Chaurasia, and Atul Anand Srivastav from CSC 7th SEM. So what is these terms like? What are these terms? What are these fancy terms are? Like we are hearing these terms nowadays a lot. We are hearing the ads of the white junior hat on the TVs, on the YouTubes as an ads like the coding platform for the children. And our government is also implemented this as a part of our education system from the class 6 itself. So we are on this thing a lot. Why? Because as we know today how much important role of technology in our daily lives. So to interact with those technologies, to interact with those machines, we need to know some languages, some like the languages like English, to interact with you all. I'm interacting with some languages, Hindi or English. So to interact with the machines or to those technologies, we have some languages. So to know them, to know them, to communicate with them, to work with them, we need to know these things. So these are the things that we are going to tell you and give. We are wanted to give you a brief overview of what are all those things are. So now, okay. So we are going to see what is programming and why programming. To start, some basic. It is the most important concept of the programming and what it takes to be a good programmer and where to start and some of the useful links. So here, what is programming? So here you can see I've related the programming with the task. So steps that you are taking to complete a task is called programming. So as you can take the example, any real life example, like we can take the example of Rashmi ma'am. The event is given to the Rashmi ma'am, and Rashmi ma'am had taken the steps of organizing the events through the Zoom app, through taking help of the children. So now in this place we are the technologies, and Rashmi ma'am is interacting with us with any languages so that we are able to complete this task. So Rashmi ma'am has programmed all the thing in such a way that the event will go successfully. So Rashmi ma'am is a programmer. Yes, she is. And why programming? So here, the why programming. So we need to. So we are learning the programming to complete the task in much efficient way. Like if you know the steps, like how we are going to do this, and then we will complete in much more easier way and in much efficient way, rather than if you are not knowing how to complete a task, then just blindly going towards the step, and we will not able to complete on a time, and then we will not able to complete it on a time. So that's why programming is important, so that your task will be completed in a much faster way to increase the speed and also to increase the efficiency. So that's why programming is required. So now when to start? So yes, it is the question of many of the beginners or many of the children, like where to start. So any guesses from your side? Anyone? Like 20, 13, 14?
Can I start from YouTube or something like that?
Sorry?
If I don't know anything about programming, can I start from YouTube?
Wait, I was sharing some links here and then go through them. I will sharing those links in earlier part. So see, you can start it at any age. We have two examples. One is Gennady Krotokovich. He started at the age of 6, and one this Silliman. He started at the age of 25. See, 25, and he was even not from the computer science background, but suddenly he moved towards this, and he attended the coding boot camp of 6 months, and then after from that boot camp, he was able to make it for the Google, and also he was an ex-Google, ex-Facebook, and he has worked with all the FANG companies like Facebook, Amazon, Google, Netflix. So he worked with them, all of them, and then he started his own company, that is Algo Expert. to help the students like us to crack the coding interviews. But on the other side, we have Gennady Krotokovich. He's still in this area to solving the problems, on daily competition. He's still in this part, in research part. So we can, on the basis of this, we can categorize the programmer into two parts. One who are still eager to solve the new problems coming on the new competitions, and one to get placed. So the second thing, the most important concept are these two things, time and space. So on the basis of these two things, your programming skills can be judged. Like I will give you a real life example. Like we have this place Zoom app. Okay, so in the Zoom app, we have the capacity of total 100 participants, so that we can organize this event for the 100 participants at once. So we are taking one time. Let's consider this as a one time. But what if we have only the maximum participant limit will be 3? Then how many participants we have now? Consider we have 21 participants. Then we need to organize this again and again for the 7 times. Then we are taking 7 units of time. Only we are taking too much time. Okay, but now what we are doing, we are taking only one time, but we are consuming 21 space at once. So see, our programming skills can be dependent on these two things, how much time we are taking and how much space we are taking. If you have enough time, yes, you can take this. And if you don't have the enough time, but you have enough space, you can spend your space. Similarly with this space. Then how to be a good programmer? The first one is, you have to know some basic algorithms, and problem solving skills should be good. And also you need to have a good Googling stuff. Like if you are stuck at any place, you can just search those problem and they are already available there. But it is recommended that you have to good knowledge of algorithms, because in the big competitions or any places, you will not get this feature like googling things or all those features there. So it is recommended that be more rely on the algorithms skill. Now where to start? So here we have some coding platforms: HackerRank for the completely beginner, and then HackerEarth, CodeForces, and CodeChef. CodeForces is the most oldest platform and the world's biggest platform, and CodeChef is the Indian biggest platform, and there you can start, and many of the competitions are held in every month. And LeetCode is made specifically for the interview purpose. So if you are preparing for a company, LeetCode is best for you. Now I have one link. See, there are only one link, but it is enough or more than enough. If you mastered all those algorithms written at this page, then I assure you, you will be able to solve all those complex problems that were asked in real life and also in the programming competition. So that's all from my side. Now I would like to call Atul Anand Srivastav to put more light on the ethical hacking. Thank you. And again, happy Teachers Day.
Okay, thank you, Roshan. First of all, good afternoon and happy Teachers Day to all. I'm Atul Anand from CSC 7th SEM. So today's session is about ethical hacking. So we have often heard the word hacking and all, and lots of concepts regarding this, that it is illegal or legal. So we are going to discuss all about this. So next slide, Roshan. Okay, the first thing, what is hacking? Okay, so hacking basically part of our computing world from last 6 decades, almost last 6 decades, because the first known hacking event was held in 1960s at MIT, California, and then the word hacking and hacker was originated. And if I go by a small definition, then hacking is a activity of finding all the possible entry ports in your system or server or network, and finally entering into this into your system via these ports. So basically this entry may be authorized or unauthorized by the owner of the system. Like if it is authorized by the owner, then the hacking is legal, and if the owner don't know about that someone had been hacked his system, then it is illegal. Okay, and in last I just add a small statement that says hacking is a start as a kid mischief, and now it's turned into $1 million business. Okay, now the next, the types of hackers. So before the types of hackers, we should discuss about the hackers. So the hackers are those who do hacking. In very short definition, the hackers are those who do hacking. Okay, and on the basis of the principle of their hacking, like are they authorized by the owner to hack the system or not? There are 3 types of hackers. The first one is black hat hackers. then white hat hackers, then gray hat hackers. The black hat hackers are those who do illegal or unauthorized works. Basically, they do hacking for their own deed, like they hack someone's system without their permission, and then they demand some money so that to fix it, or otherwise they will make it public. And the next come the white hat hacker. They are basically the ethical hacker who do hacking with
Is he audible?
I think his network problem has come. So
Okay, okay, it's okay. I'll come.
yeah, you continue. Yes.
ethics by upcoming section.
So then, Atul, are
Hello.
you there? Okay, okay.
Yeah, hello.
It's fine now. It's fine now.
Okay, okay. I think there's some network issue. Sorry. Okay, so the ethical hacking. Ethical hacking means hacking with the permission of the owner of the system. Okay, so the term ethical hacking is introduced when the US Pentagon attack happened, like the also known as 9/11 attack. In this attack, the lots of terror planning has been done on website, and by the lots of information are recovered and accessed using hacking. So the EC Council decided to introduce the term ethical hacking, and the person who perform ethical hacking are known as ethical hacker or the white hat hackers, which I had earlier mentioned. So the ethical hackers are those who hack your system by your permission for finding the bugs and the system issues and finally resolving it, so that no one other hacker can hack your system. So they are basically, they have a good knowledge, quite good knowledge about computer as well as programming, and using this skill, they just try to help the owner to protect the system. Okay, just unlike black hat hackers, the black hat hackers also good knowledge, but they do for their own purposes. But the white hat hackers do for the security purpose. They are also known as cyber security experts. Okay, the next slide. The phases of hacking. Okay, so there are some five stages of hacking. Like all the hackers, either white hat hacker or black hat hacker, like illegal hacking or legal hacking, both perform these stages. Okay, the first one is reconnaissance. In reconnaissance, it is a stage in which the hacker gather all the information about the target machine. Okay, like what the operating system, what was the network on which the system is working, and what are the IP address and all. And then after getting all the information about the target machine, they try to scan the possible vulnerability exploitations. Okay, like from where they can enter into your system, and this stage is known as scanning. And after scanning, the next stage is gaining accesses. In gaining accesses, they've located the vulnerability from where they can access in your system, enter in your system. And when they locate that port, they try to exploit this using one of the most powerful tool for hacking for vulnerability exploitation is Metasploit. So using Metasploit, they exploit your entry port and enter in your system. And then after, the next stage is maintaining accesses. So basically, when the hackers, at this stage, the hacker is already hacked your system, okay? But for the future reference, like in the future, if you want to enter in your system easily, they install a backdoor in your system. And using this backdoor, they can be access your system whenever they want in future as well. So this stage is known as maintaining access. And again, the Metasploit tool is used there. And then they are clearing tracks and reporting. Okay, at this stage, we can differentiate how the hacker is either ethical or unethical. Like the clearing track stage, the hacker clear all his activity logs so that no one can know who hacked the system. No one can know who hacked the system. So this is basically performed by the black hat hackers, those who are performing hacking illegally. And then the reporting. The reporting is the last stage of ethical hacker. These stages are performed by the ethical hackers or white hat hackers. So in this, the ethical hacker make all the report, how he entered in your system and what are the bugs and how he fixed. And this all report is, by making all this report, he send it back to the owner. So that's all about the phases of hacking. And the next slide. So there are some famous tools regarding hacking, like the Nmap and Metasploit, Burpsuit, Angry IP Scanner, and the Superscan. Okay, the Nmap is basically the network mapper. It is an open source tool which is used to find the network of the target machine. And then the Metasploit, as I already mentioned, it is used to exploit the vulnerabilities and penetration testing. And then the Burpsuit is a popular platform that is widely used for performing security testing. And the Angry IP Scanner, it is also one of the open source powerful tool which is used to scan the IP address at any range. And the Super Scanner, it is used to save your like used by the administrator to save their system from the hacker, so that no one can exploit their system. Okay, the next one, why hacking? Okay, at this situation, the COVID situation, the lots of apps are launched. Okay. So that the work can be done without human interaction. So once the app are launched, there are also a danger that someone can hack it. So here the cyber security experts come into the picture. Their work are to secure this hacking and secure this website from hacking. And that's why ethical hacking is necessary, so that you can secure your system. Like ethical hacking are used in lots of fields, like in military, in any website have their cyber security experts, those who protect the website from being hacked by someone else. Next. So the benefits of hacking. Okay, learning hacking is quite an interesting thing. It's a fascinating, and being human, we are quite fascinating to know what was happening in someone else's system. Okay, so it's quite interesting, and we learn a lot of things when we learn ethical hacking. Okay, like man in the middle attack, driver by downloads, and password attack, phishing, and all DDoS. So these are quite known attack and quite interesting to learn. And one can become ethical hacker by getting certified by EC Council, the examination known as Certified Ethical Hacking Certification. So if any question, answer. Any question or query regarding to?
It was wonderful, but I don't know why the word hacking itself brings a fear that something illegal is going to happen. So what if our interest we do and we land up in some problem, then what? Because I am not a person from programming.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, hacking, as I already in the starting I said, there are lots of concepts regarding hacking, that it's illegal or legal. So yeah, hacking is illegal until you are not authorized by the owner. Okay, and if you are authorized by the owner that you are doing hacking to protect your system, then it is illegal. Then it is legal.
So
and
which
once
you don't recommend it to any beginner, because it has to be known that what are the danger areas and what are not the danger areas. And I think beginners don't know much about it. So if I'm just interested in hacking, I don't think so I should step in.
Yeah, you can not that much. You can step, because when you start any course for ethical hacking, there are lots of courses available at YouTube and Udemy and all. They will teach everything from from in scratch, so that you can know how to proceed. So in a manner that it will not become a kind of cyber crime done by you. Okay, so it's not that much issue. You can learn. Anyone can learn.
It was very interesting for me, person who's not from the background of programming. It was very interesting for me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Atul and Roshan. Where words leave off, music begins. Let's refresh our minds with a melodious musical performance by Harpreet Singh.
मेरे सपने अपने समझ कर पूरा उनको करते हो, उन सपनों की कीमत क्या क्या सह के अदा करते हो। पापा तुम सब सहते हमसे नहीं कुछ कहते हो, पापा तुम सब सहते हो, हमसे नहीं कुछ कहते हो। धुंधला जाए जो मंजिलें, एक पल तो तू नजर उठा, झुक जाए सर जहां वहीं मिलता है रब का रास्ता। तेरी किस्मत तो बदलते रख हिम्मत बस चलते, तेरे साथी मेरे कदमों के हैं निशान। तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा, तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा, तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा, तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा। मैं तो नहीं हूँ इंसानों में, बिकता हूँ मैं तो इन दुकानों में। मैं तो नहीं हूँ इंसानों में, बिकता हूँ मैं तो इन दुकानों में। दुनिया बनाई मैंने हाथों से, मिट्टी से नहीं जज्बातों से। फिर रहा हूँ ढूंढता मेरे निशान, है कहाँ 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 मेरे निशान, है कहाँ।
Thank you, Harpreet. That was a wonderful performance. Inside each of us is a natural born storyteller waiting to be released. Now, I would like to call Utkarsh Arya to tell us a story.
A very heartily good afternoon to all and wishing happy very Teachers Day. I am Utkarsh Har from BSc B.Ed. On the occasion of Teachers Day, I want to tell a story. So, एक बार की बात थी, बारिश का समय था, एक टीचर का छोटे से गांव में ट्रांसफर हो गया, जहां के बच्चे स्कूल बहुत ही कम आया करते थे। टीचर वहां जाने के बाद थोड़ा उदास से थे। उन्होंने सोचा क्लास में कुछ थोड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग किया जाए, जिससे पढ़ाई में बच्चों को इंटरेस्ट आए। क्लास का वो पहला दिन था, लेक्चर था मैथ्स का। टीचर ने क्लास में एंट्री ली और अपने पॉकेट से 100 रुपीज का नोट निकालकर टेबल पर रख दिया। उसके बाद टीचर ने सभी बच्चों से पूछा, मैं तुम्हें 100 रुपए दूंगा तो तुम क्या खरीदोगे? मैं तुम्हें 100 रुपए दूंगा तो तुम क्या खरीदोगे? किसी ने कहा मैं टॉय खरीदूंगा, किसी ने कहा मैं बैट खरीदूंगा, तो किसी ने कहा मैं ढेर सारी चॉकलेट खरीदूंगा। एक बच्चा सोचने में डूबा हुआ था। तभी टीचर ने उससे पूछा, तुम क्या खरीदोगे? तुम इतना क्या सोच रहे हो? बच्चा बोला, टीचर जी मेरी माँ को थोड़ा कम दिखाई देता है, मैं उनके लिए चश्मा खरीदूंगा। टीचर ने पूछा, तुम्हारी माँ के लिए तो तुम्हारे पापा भी खरीद सकते हैं, तुम्हें अपने लिए कुछ नहीं खरीदना? जब बच्चे ने जवाब दिया तो उससे टीचर का भी गला भर आया। सर मेरे पापा इस दुनिया में नहीं है, मेरी माँ लोगों के कपड़े सिलकर मुझे पढ़ाती है और उन्हें कम दिखाई देने की वजह से वो ठीक से सिल नहीं पाती, इसलिए मैं उनके लिए एक चश्मा खरीद दूंगा ताकि मैं अच्छे से पढ़ सकूं, बड़ा आदमी बन सकूं, मैं मेरी माँ को सारी सुख सुविधाएं दे सकूं। टीचर थोड़े इमोशनल थे, वो बच्चे के पास गए और उनसे कहा, बेटा तेरी सोच ही तेरी कामयाबी है, बेटा तेरी सोच ही तेरी कामयाबी है, ये ले, ये 100 रुपए वादे के अनुसार रख और ये 100 रुपए और रख, उधार दे रहा हूँ, जब भी कमाएगा मुझे लौटा देना। और मेरी इच्छा है तू इतना बड़ा आदमी बने कि तेरे हाथ पे सर फेरते हुए मैं धन्य हो जाऊं। ठीक 20 साल बाद स्कूल में बारिश हो रही थी, अंदर क्लास चल रही थी, अचानक से लाल बत्ती में जिला कलेक्टर की गाड़ी स्कूल के सामने आ जाती है। सभी स्कूल स्टाफ चौकन्ना सा हो जाता है, स्कूल के सामने सन्नाटा सा छा जाता है। ये क्या हुआ? जिला कलेक्टर एक टीचर के पैरों में गिरता है और कहता है, सर मैं आपके उधार के 100 रुपए लौटाने आया हूँ। टीचर देख के उसे उठाते हैं, सर पे हाथ फेरते और कहते हैं, बेटा तुम्हारी मेहनत रंग लाई, आज तुम्हारी मंजिल तुमको मिल गई। उसके बाद कलेक्टर भी बड़े अच्छे से जवाब देता है, सर मंजिल तक जाने के लिए रास्तों की जरूरत पड़ती है और वो रास्ता मुझे आपने दिखाया है। जो भी मैं आज हूँ आपकी वजह से हूँ। टीचर रोने लगते, आंखों में आंसू आ जाता है और टीचर कलेक्टर को जोर के गले लगा लेते हैं। यही मेरी कहानी थी। एक लाइन के साथ समाप्त करूंगा। टीचिंग इज द वन प्रोफेशन दैट क्रिएट्स ऑल अदर प्रोफेशन. Teaching is the one profession that create all other profession. Thank you so much. Happy Teachers Day to all.
Thank you, Utkarsh, for that vivid story. Do you feel like hearing from our alumni? I think our alumni can help us all students by sharing their experiences. Then let's hear from them.
Hello everyone, I am Yash Aryan. I completed BE in Civil Engineering in 2015 from IISc. I am grateful and I would like to thank founder and Chancellor Engineer B.S. Yadav and Pro-Chancellor Dr. Smita Singh ma'am for providing the and learning atmosphere at IIS. All the faculties are very good at IIS, such as Professor R.C. Maheshwari. The university always encouraged me to participate in various technical events at national level and always showed faith in me. Because of them, I was able to crack GATE in 2016, after which I did MTech in Environmental Engineering from IIT Dhanbad. I also worked in L&T construction for 1 year. Currently, I am pursuing PhD from IIT Bombay. And thank you again to all the IIS family, and happy Teachers Day to all the faculties at IIS. Thank you.
Hi, myself Akash Singh. I am working as a software development engineer in Emphasis. As we know, today is Teachers Day, and I want to take this opportunity to thank the professors of IES University, and special thanks to Chairman Sir and Director Ma'am, who molded us in the right way and shown us the right path. IES University immensely contributed in my journey of being who I am today. So it is very important for us to thank the professors who gave us the interesting and enlightening experience with education. Lastly, I want to salute the greatest profession in the world. Happy Teachers Day. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amit from CSE 2018 batch, and I'm very much excited to be a part of this digital initiative of celebrating Teachers Day during this year. I want to call out a few names who helped me professionally as well as personally during my engineering at IES College of Technology. I want to thank Mr. Anshul sir, Anubhav sir, Khushbu ma'am, Surendra sir, Chairman sir and Director ma'am. There are many more names. I want to thank each and every staff and faculties of IES College of Technology who helped me to grow myself and build my career. I wish you all a very happy Teachers Day. Enjoy your day. It's your day.
Wow, that was really great. Feeling a gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. So now I would like to call upon Harpreet Singh to conclude our Teachers' Day celebration by proposing a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Tejal. On behalf of IES University,
Harpreet, wait, beta, wait. One moment. First of all, it's a great pleasure. बहुत ही अच्छा आप सबका program था, and happy Teachers' Day to all of you. And one more important thing is that beta, all of you, आज सबसे पहले अपने पेरेंट्स को विश करें आप लोग, क्योंकि सबसे पहले हमारे गुरु हमारी माँ होती है और उसके बाद हमारे फादर होते हैं, फिर हमारे टीचर्स होते हैं, right? So happy Teachers Day to all of you, and such a wonderful program. Thank you all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.